Class, today we're going to talk about dividing a whole number by a fraction using a model. What we want to remember for this is that the first number in a in a division statement is the amount that you start with. So in this first question, we're going to start with two whole objects. Our divide sign means split into. And with our second number here being a fraction, we're not going to be able to split those into a fraction amount of groups. So we're going to split it into groups of our fraction. And our fraction, the amount in that fraction is our 2. And the bottom just tells us what shape those things are. So they're fifths each. So let's go ahead and draw our two holes. There's two whole rectangles, and of course we have all of these two, so we'll lightly shade in the entirety of those. We need to break these up into fifths, so 5 sections each. And adding 4 dividing lines makes 5 sections each. And then anytime we have 2 of these, we can call that one group. So here's one group, that's group number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And since we create 5 full or whole groups, then we can say that our quotient, our solution, is just 5. Let's apply the same logic to our next question. We again want to start with 2 whole. And we're going to split it into groups of 3 fifths this time. So again, we're going to start with 2 whole rectangles. We're going to color in all of both rectangles. We're going to split both rectangles into fifths again. And this time, though, we need to circle groups of 3. So there's 3 of my fifths. That could be group number 1. Here's another 3 fifths. That could be group number 2. Here's another 3 fifths. That could be group number 3. But then I have this leftover one here. And so I want to remember that I'm making groups of 3. And so that leftover one is 1 out of the 3 pieces that I need for this last group. So I've got 3 full groups in green, and I've got 1 out of 3 parts in my partial group. And so that's going to be the mixed number 3 and 1/3. Take a look at question C. We've got 4 divided into 1/2. We're going to start with 4. We're going to split it into groups of 1. And our size is 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. Each hole we're going to split in half. We do have all of each hole. That's my dividing line there. And then each of these sections I can actually call one group, because each group only needs 1/2 in each of it. So if we count up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups. And so we can say our quotient here is 8. Here we're going to start with 8 holes. And we're going to split up into groups of 2/3. So we're going to go ahead and draw our 8 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. Each of those needs to be in thirds, so we'll add 2 dividing lines to each of them to make 3 sections. Of course, we have all of each of these. Color in. Then we want to pair up any 2 pieces. So that's first group, second group, third group, fourth group, fifth group, sixth group, seventh group, eighth group, ninth group, 10, 11, 12 groups in total. And of course, those are full or whole groups. And we can say that our quotient here is 12. Question E, we're going to start with 5 holes. And split those up into our groups of 3/4. So let's start with 5 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to split each of those into quarters. So that's 3 dividing lines to make 4 sections. Of course, we have all of each of these. And we want to circle groups of 3 parts. So there's 3 parts. That's group number 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, draw that a little bit neater. 5, 6. Then again, we've got 1 leftover piece, and we want to keep in mind that a full group would have 3 pieces. So we have 6 full groups and 1 out of 3 parts needed in that last group. So that's going to be the mixed number 6 1/3 as our quotient. We're going to start with 5 holes. And we're going to split it into groups of 3 halves. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. Let's split each of those in half. Of course, we have all of each of these. And we want to sort groups of 3 halves at a time. So there's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 full groups, and then we've got 1 out of the 3 that we need to finish our last group there. So we're going to say 3 full groups. 1, 2, 3. And 1 out of 3 parts in our last group. So that's the mixed number 3 1/3. Popular answer. Last one here, we've got our start with 3 holes. Of course, our divide sign is and split into. And then for our second fraction, 2. Our second fraction there is groups of 5/6. So here's 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. Now we want to break those up into sixths, so we need to add 5 dividing lines. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, we have all of each of these. And then we want to sort into groups of 5. So there's 5, that's group number 1. There's another 5, that's group number 2. There's another 5, it's group 3. And then we've got 3 here out of the 5 that we would need for our last group. So 3 full groups and 3 out of 5 in our partial group. So that's our mixed number 3 and 3/5. Oh, sorry, one more. Each. Start with 4. Divide sign means and split into. And then our second fraction there, we've got groups of 2, and each of them is a third. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes. Of course, we got all of each of these. We want to split those 4 wholes into thirds, so 2 dividing lines. And then we want to sort them into groups of 2/3 at a time. So 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups. This creates 6 full groups. No partial groups, so we're going to say our quotient is 6. So hopefully that has helped you with understanding how to divide a whole number by a fraction using a mul. First number is always your starting amount, and then the fraction is the amount in each group on top, and the bottom just tells us what the size of each part is. So hopefully that's helped you out.